our new series of recordings called What's Normal. These look at what we expect in physical and emotional development for children between the ages of 2 and 11. For those of you who have not come across us before, I'm Sam. I'm the Clinical Director here at Standing in the Gap. Standing in the Gap is a small charity which started in 2017. We're what's called an early intervention mental health charity. This means we work with children and families before they hit crisis and while they are having wobbles and concerns. Our vision is that every child is emotionally healthy and able to flourish. We support preschool and primary age children and help them manage the big emotions such as fear, anxiety, anger and grief. Our mission is to build emotional wellbeing in children by providing tools and support to children and families. We're a small charity based in Oxfordshire and have been fortunate to get a grant from the Coronavirus Support Fund, which is distributed by the National Lottery, to enable us to make this resource. However, if you found this series useful, please do make us a donation to enable us to continue to make these resources. You can do this via our website using the donation button or text SITG and the amount to 70085. If you'd like to support us regularly, please look at our supporters page on the website for full details. Your support can really help make a difference to children and families. Prior to starting Standing in the Gap, I carried out some research in 3 schools in Banbury in Oxfordshire. This looked at parents' and teachers' views on support for children with mental health distress or difficulties. One of the really clear themes that came out from this research was that parents told us that they didn't really know what normal was. So they weren't sure if it was a problem, or what was a phase, or what was normal for that age. They also told us they wanted to know what were classed as the red flags or concerns, things that they shouldn't ignore, and when they should ask for help. Finally, they told us they didn't know where to go for help, so wanted all this information. We wanted to respond to those concerns and have some generic advice about how children develop, what factors influence all children's development, and what behaviour is a concern or what we class as a red flag. We also wanted to give some really clear information on where to get help. Following on from this, we will look at the children from the ages of 2 to 11 individually and see what's going on, looking at their physical and emotional development and what is normal for that specific age. And at the end of each, I have a section on what can help and actually help with their development. One of the things that parents often ask is, when should I ask for more help for my child? I'd recommend, if you see any of the following behaviours, you have a conversation with your child's school or your GP about getting your child assessed, as they will probably need some more support. If we pick things up early, they can be supported. Behavioural changes don't necessarily mean an underlying significant issue, but they're unlikely to go away on their own. So red flags or behaviours that are a cause for concern include a change in behaviour. A normal, happy child becomes withdrawn, quiet, tearful, or you see changes in sleeping habits. A regression in behaviour, so losing a skill that they've already achieved or mastered. This could be they started wetting the bed, or being wet during the day, they're not sleeping, or they're showing less self-care activities than they were before. In school-age children, some of our concerns include appearing low or disinterested, a lack of interest in normal activities or withdrawing from activities they've previously enjoyed can be a concern. Expressing negative views about themselves constantly, not just the situational reaction of, oh, I'm such an idiot, I can't do your maths homework or don't understand things, but instead you're seeing regular negative views about themselves. Any expressions of not wanting to live or carry on living should be classed as a concern. A significant change in weight, either that's a gain or a loss, are a concern. Any obsessions around what they eat, where or how they need to keep clean, bringing in repetitive routines or very fixed routines can be a concern. Any self-destructive behaviours that aren't a one-off in temper, so things like headbanging, scratching themselves, pulling their hair or harming themselves physically, can be a concern. Also, anything as parents that worries you, that you're concerned about, that you need to have a conversation with a professional. So who do I go to for help? If your child is under 5, you can contact your health visitor. If they're at primary school, contact your school health nurse. Both can help support you in your child's development. Here at Standing in the Gap, we're in the process of applying for grants to be able to support more families one-to-one. So please do check out our website and see where we are at and what support we are able to offer. Please try not to Google concerns, as child mental health issues are complex and need to be properly assessed and managed. Also, on the other extreme, don't ignore it. If you're seeing some of the concerns mentioned above, please do ask for help. The earlier you get the help, the better it is for you and your child. We all want children to be able to be emotionally healthy and able to flourish. So how do children develop? Just before we go into the age-specific development, I want to look at a few key issues that impact all children. What we need to remember is children do develop at different rates to each other, so try not to compare. Not all 3-year-olds or all 8-year-olds behave the same. Factors other than development have an impact, as we'll look at in a moment. However, all children do go through development stages, and you learn the basic skills and then build on the more advanced skills. And generally these skills develop in the same order, as each skill builds on the next. So children develop primarily physically, emotionally and socially. A delay in one area can cause a delay in another area. So for example, if there's a delay in language skills, this often impacts the behaviour as the child struggles to communicate and have the big feelings that they're having. The environment a child is in has a huge impact on them. Are they getting age-appropriate stimulation with toys, books, interaction with others? Are their basic needs being met? Do they feel safe and loved? Are there any concerns about physical or emotional neglect? Or any significant conflicts within the house that's going on? As all of these have an impact on the environment the child is in and also on the development. It's a little bit like growing a plant. If you give it enough light, water and the right soil, it flourishes. If you don't, the plant's growth is stunted. Children are the same. They need a good environment to be able to flourish physically and emotionally. Birth order also affects, same as with environment, where the child fits within your family has an impact on their development. Are they the eldest and independent, wanting to be grown up? Or are they the youngest, the baby, the one who everybody helps and does things for? Often these family roles stick with us throughout life. Temperament also has an impact on how children respond and react to situations. If you've ever wondered why you can have two children that are so different, do watch our temperament video, available on the Understanding Your Child part of our website. And there's lots of tips there that can be really helpful in managing children slightly different due to their temperament traits. Another aspect is brain development. We know that by the age of 3, your child's brain is 90% of its adult size. However, there's so much to learn and so much development. We know that brain development can take between 25 to 30 years to grow a fully functioning adult brain. We know our brains grow significantly at 2 specific times. First 3 years and again during the teenage years. And during these times, the brain soaks up lots of information and makes millions of new brain connections. To help your child make sense of the world, it's really important to talk to them. Explain to them what's happening, what you're doing, and also what you want them to do. Please do see our resources on managing change in the Understanding Your Child section of the website. It's got a whole useful bit of information on explaining things and how you walk children through different stages. Secondly, let them know that they are loved and safe. Thirdly, give them a framework to help them understand and process things. Neurobiologists and cognitive psychologists tell us that between 40 and 95% of what we do is habit. So it's worth building in good routines with your child. This can include anything from cleaning their teeth, sitting at the table to eat, or reading books together before they go to bed. By building in patterns, it helps children place activities when initially they can't tell the time. Really important to say that the information in these videos is a guide. If you are concerned about your child's development, whether that's physical or emotional, it's really important you get somebody to review you in person. So in summary, for this first bit, what we've looked at is what behaviours are red flags and need further assessment and shouldn't be ignored. We've looked at where you can go and get help from. We've also looked at what factors affect all children's development. So we said that they're building blocks, one part to another. A delay in one area impacts another area. Environment has an impact, temperament has an impact, and brain development has an impact. We're now going to move on to look at the specific age and consider what's normal physical development, what's normal emotional development, and also what we can do to support development. 5-year-olds. At 5, children become more balanced again, so their thinking and the capabilities tend to come together. So when we look at physical development, we know that 5-year-olds are active. They're quite skillful in outdoor play and they can run lightly on their toes. They show good control in writing and drawing. They can paint or draw when they have an idea and then they paint it, whereas 4-year-olds tend to draw it and then make sense of it. 5-year-olds can recite jokes and jingles. They can dress and undress without help, although may still like being helped if they're tired or upset. They appreciate clock times in relation to daily routines. 5-year-olds often have an ear for detail and may ask the meaning of abstract words, such as what does beyond mean, rather than the whole sentence. 5-year-olds have difficulty listening to other people for a long time and would rather talk themselves. 90% of them are dry during the night, however 10% aren't, and this can be a source of much anxiety and frustration for both parents and children, although at this age it's usually more stressful for parents. If you are concerned or struggling to get your 5-year-old dry, do look at the ERIC website and our resources tab on the website. They have some excellent, fantastic up-to-date information on managing any toileting concerns. When we talk about sleep, 5-year-olds need around 11 hours of sleep a night. So if they wake at 7 in the morning, they need to be asleep by 8 o'clock at night at the latest. If they wake earlier, they need to be asleep earlier. Some children will need more than 11 hours sleep. The acid test of enough sleep is, can you function effectively? If you can't, then they probably do need some more sleep. So we're going to look at emotional development for 5-year-olds. What we know is they enjoy brief separations from home and parents. They're beginning to understand the idea of tactfulness and being polite and get the social rules about having to greet someone. They become a little bit more aware about the differences between the sexes and how people are different from each other. 5-year-olds instinctively help other children when they're distressed. They compare themselves to others. Taller, shorter, length of hair, understanding in maths. When they're angry, they might stomp their feet or slam doors. And I hate you or I wish you were dead are often common statements from both 4 and 5-year-olds. 5-year-olds talk about the past, the present and the future with a good sense of time. Bargaining continues to be quite a useful way of controlling 5-year-olds. You do this, I'll do that. Time-out options can also be helpful to get them to bring their self-control back after some big feelings. Distractions stopped working quite as well as it did when they were younger. Most fears are what we call concrete, fear of things they can see, so fear of being bitten by a dog, or the dark, or parents or carers not being available is still real fears. Transitional objects, where you use an object to help them know that you're holding them in mind, is really powerful at this stage. And they may sometimes worry that something may happen to a parent while they're at school. Transitional objects, we do sell those in our shop, so on our online shop, so do have a look. They can be very useful. So what can we do to help 5-year-olds and promote their development? We can let the children organise their own games. It can be a little interesting at times, but the whole process is a useful one. We can encourage them to help with simple tasks like washing up or watering the plants. We can encourage them to use models, jigsaws, craft activities as well as drawing and painting. When we talk, we can talk about the past, the present and the future and promote language skills. We can provide stilts to encourage coordination and balance, and these can be made as simply from old paint tins or baby milk tins and some strong cord. Throwing games are quite fun. Get your child to stand about 6 foot away from a bucket or a bin and throw in a medium-sized ball or a beanbag. In the summer you can do this and make it more fun with filling the bucket full of water. Play counting games with your child. Use dice and simple board games to really encourage their counting and number skills. Most of all, really enjoy your child as a 5-year-old. Don't keep saying to them, when you're bigger, when you can, as time goes really quickly. So do enjoy them as they are right now.